In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to solve a quadratic of this form, 3x squared minus 48x plus 39 equals 0. And we're going to solve this by completing the square. And the difference with this video is that our leading coefficient is 3, whereas the last tutorial we had a leading coefficient of 1. And if you remember, we have to have a leading coefficient equal to 1, and we have to have the x squared and the x on one side of the equation and the constant on the other by itself. So we're going to have to do some manipulation here. The leading coefficient is 3, so right now we're going to go ahead and divide everything on both sides by 3. So this equation will become x squared, negative 48 divided by 3 is going to be a negative 16x, and then plus 13 equals 0. So we're almost there. We have the leading coefficient of 1 now, so that's taken care of. Now we just need the x squared and x's together and the constant on the other side. So that means I need to take away 13 from both sides of the equation. So we have x squared minus 16x equals a negative 13. And whenever I'm completing the square, I leave a little gap there because I need to figure out what it is that I'm adding on each side. So I look at the b value, which is a negative 16, and if you recall, we have to take half of b, so negative 16 divided by 2, and square it, and that's what we add to each side. So negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8, squared is 64. So we'll be adding 64 to both sides, this side and this side. So if you remember what we're doing now, we have to rewrite the left side as something, a binomial being squared. So we're going to look at x squared minus 16x plus 64, and we're going to rewrite that as the quantity x, and then we have to add on half of b in the middle here. So adding half of b, well, that's going to be adding a negative 8, so we can just write it as minus 8. So x minus 8, the quantity squared, and then 64 minus 13 is going to be, let's see, 51. Okay, so if this is our problem, now we can solve this by square roots. So we square root each side, and we're left with x minus 8 equals the positive and negative square root of 51. To get x by itself, we would add 8 to both sides. So we get x equals the positive and negative square root of 51 plus 8. So in your calculator, you would type in the positive square root of 51 plus 8, and then separately you would do the negative square root of 51 plus 8. And your two answers would end up being 0.86 and 15.14. And then you're done.